Recording in progress. Recording of the next NSL live talk with Mikhail Markine on the right. Haven't seen you in a while. Hi, Mikhail. And Joey Marshall on the left. Welcome. Thanks for taking the time. You were training today.
Yeah. We're all quite tired. We've switched our training during this summer to 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So we do 5 days of training, then we do 2 days off, and then we do 5 more days of training. So 10 days total over 2 weeks, and then we're off for 2 weeks, and then we so even though we get that 2-week break, it's still quite exhausting in the Arizona summer. So yeah, we're all quite excited to be to have powered through this 2-week camp.
Yeah, and you're not really sitting in those 2 weeks off. You're not really sitting on your lazy chairs and relaxing all day long and stuff. No. You have to somehow survive, right? I mean, you have to do some stuff.
For example, me, Mikhail, and Chris are all flying to Brazil tomorrow. Mikhail to the eastern side of Brazil, and me and Chris to the western side of Brazil. All for work. So.
Oh, great! Well, great if you still like traveling. You're traveling a lot.
It's finally coming back. It's super nice. Super nice. It's really great to get out there.
So what's happening on the East Coast? What's happening on the West Coast in Brazil?
So me and Chris are organizing a kind of a big way skills camp at a drop zone near the border with Paraguay called Sky Foz, and we'll be doing an event there. That event there next weekend. So that would be really cool.
Have you been there? Sorry, let me just interrupt there for a second. Have you been there before?
I have not.
You know that there are the Iguazu waterfalls?
I did hear about that.
The biggest waterfalls on the planet, the strongest. There's a movie about it, the mission that you surely want to see before you go there. And there was a world meet in '87. You have to go there. Really.
Yeah, you have to go. That's awesome.
It's around the corner. It's spectacular. So, okay, sorry. So now what's on the other side of Brazil there for Mikhail?
I'm doing tunnel coaching in Brasilia, the capital, and taking a few days in Sao Paulo.
Copa iFly.
Yeah.
Is there a meet at the same time, one of the indoor meets, or is it just coaching?
No, just coaching. The team So that you've seen and written about, we're working together.
With Manuel, who runs the place there, basically, yeah. Well, nice fellow.
It's a very, very cozy setup, and the guys are great. Super excited, motivated. It's a fantastic vibe.
It's amazing, actually. They're not really in their 20s any longer, and they're so motivated. And Manuel and the whole team was in Charleroi, right? So
yeah, and they had a blast. They had a really good time.
I believe you. Yeah, I've been in touch with him. We hope to work a little bit more together. He's interested in the junior program, that we have been running for a while with the Czech Republic and France. We'll see. Well, and enjoy the trips. Don't forget the waterfalls there, Joey. I don't know. Brasilia, I don't really know well, but anyway, let's cut to the chase. Big topic this week, at least, or until this weekend, was the SISM. The SISM has never been on the radar that much for the NSL news or for the formation skydiving community since NMP PCH Hayabusa and the Qatar Tigers kind of created a bridge to the event. Not that we are doing the events, but they are out there now doing both, FAI, ISC, and SISM, all of it. And there we are. So all of a sudden, the SISM event has become a quite, not only relevant event, important event, kind of. You can say.
And we have to remember that the Golden Knights have been participating for a long time. So it's they're not there this year, unfortunately, but they're definitely a part of that world as well.
Yeah,
it was nice. We've been thinking a lot about our season and being very deliberate about going out of our way to do draws or competing, you know, doing facts or remote meets if possible. So this was a perfect opportunity for us to measure ourselves against the rest of the world, and so we're very grateful for that opportunity.
Yeah, it was well, and it was also a lot of fun. You know, like it's you know, it's an interesting rule set.
Yeah,
it's like
fast.
Yeah,
It's fast.
Always one block in every jump, and you're always starting with an M, a star. So it's a fun little draw to do. You know, and
I was pretty much done with the star at by the end of the 8 laps. Like, I can't do this again. Like, no more.
it is interesting that the averages, you know, the averages of the outdoor competition pretty much match the highest indoor averages, you know, which is very unusual.
Yeah, having done this for the first time, I mean, the average itself, that's a weird comparison because they're all fast rounds,
of course.
but having done this for the first time, I really connected it with a tunnel meet in my head. You know, you have those couple of seconds out the door.
Yeah.
So it feels more like a tunnel meet. Yeah, you have a couple of seconds, you reset, and you go for it. Really, the first page is on the hill still, but beyond that,
I wasn't in any of the blocks, especially since in any of the blocks, I wasn't thinking about hill technique on any of the blocks on the first page.
Going uphill, I could definitely feel it in the back, but yeah, it's a fun time.
Yeah, yeah, it was. And like Mikhail said, we're deep in our summer training now, and it's very easy for us to kind of get lost in summer training, you know, because it's hot out here. We start early days, we go to bed early. It's slower at the drop zone, so it's kind of just us here and school and things, and we're just going. So having an opportunity to be able to check back in with competition and to get ourselves a little nervous for rounds, that was really the main reason that we did this SISM draw. And also it was a lot of fun, you know. And I think we're really happy that we did.
Did you really kind of try to copy the logistics? I mean, you usually probably do like 16, between 10 and 20 jumps on a training day. Did you just integrate those sequences into the training day, or did you really do only like 2, 3, 4 jumps a day?
We spread them across 2 days. We did 4 rounds one morning, 4 rounds the following morning, and backfilled the rest of the day with other training that we've been doing.
Yeah, we did. We tried not to focus on, especially in the day after we had the draw to the day we were finishing the rounds. We made sure that we didn't look at any blocks that were in the draw. But other than that, I mean, we got to get our training jumps in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
well, it's only unofficial anyway, so we have to make sure that everybody knows that it's not a real competition. It's really just an unofficial testing, you know, whatever it was. But it is really fun, you know, to get this actually. And we don't know yet. I mean, we have on the preliminary scoring, we have I think a 35.3 or 2 or 3 average, because you know, at least the amateur judges who have looked at it so far, they found 2 penalty situations, but we don't know yet what it's going to be the final result, because we're trying to have other people who really know, you know, what the apples, how the apples compare with the apples, and so we don't know yet.
Again, we're super grateful just to have an opportunity to measure up with others. We realize that it's never really the same, right? We're not on this in the same venue. We don't have the same schedule. We don't have the same aircraft, weather, what have you. So we know. So this is more this again.
I mean, we've done this sort of thing in the past where during COVID where we would do these like remote meets, like the Cloud Mondial and stuff like that. But I guess the thing that we want to highlight is that this is different, right? Because the Cloud Mondial, everybody was doing the remote meet. And this one, we're just throwing up our scores just so that we can have our own competition experience while a bunch of other people are having a real competition.
Sure, yeah.
We don't want to take away anything from the military world champions or anything like that. You know what I mean? We're just having trying to have spice up our summer training a bit. That's basically.
We're in our backyard playing with our toys. Like, you got toys? Let's play with our toys.
Totally.
No, it would be really apples and bananas. The differences are so significant in so many different ways that it wouldn't be fair really to compare it directly, you know, but it somehow gives you, and it's the same for the teams, for the Pata Tigers and Hayabusa, same thing, you know, they see what Airspeed is doing and how it looks like and so on. So you can at least somehow, you know, compare and look at it.
At the end of the day, it's adrenaline, you know, for everybody. I wanted to actually give you some credit there, Kurt. This whole idea of doing more remote meets, right? Fax meets is kind of an old term, but doing these meets, what we did since starting, you know, dealing with the pandemic, I think it's a huge deal for everybody, right? Skydive Chicago deserves credit for the meet they had in June, right? Yeah. All of this is really, really good for the sport, right? Imagine for a second that every team could compete once a month, you know.
You kind of
at least the interesting part of this kind of, you know, I really appreciate that you say that, and you know, I take the credit, and Chicago, who just copied what the NSL is doing, we may take the credit too. It's fine, but basically, that's how the NSL network has been functioning for decades. I mean, that's a basic idea. I know that teams from Great Britain can compete with teams from Norway and with the US. It has been like this on every weekend, basically, since the NSL was created. So that's the idea. The pandemic changed it, or you're totally right. And I'm glad that we did this. And I will continue to offer it until this whole thing is over. Now, you still need a vaccination or a test when you go to Brazil now, or wherever there's still restrictions in place. But I just want to make sure that everybody knows that it was really only an emergency measure because of the pandemic.
Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. I know Skydive Houston has an event, the pre-nationals in August, right? We all benefit so much from that, and I know already that Hayabusa and Qatar have already signed up along with Airspeed, plus all the locals in the US. Like, all this stuff is really, really good.
Yeah, for our level, we really don't have enough competitions in a year. Like, if you really think about it, if you just take the competitions that Airspeed goes to, there really aren't technically enough competitions. Like, you compare it to any other sport. I mean, granted, we're no baseball or basketball where we're going to do over 100 games a year, but maybe more comparable to like American football, where there's like 16 games in a season. Like, would be nice to have 16 competitions a year.
But imagine how far further the sport would go if we could all compete every week. I mean, every week is excessive, right? Let's do once a month. But if we could all compete that much, the level of performance would be through the roof.
And no, I promise we'll continue with that, because I mean, we don't have the resources like football or golf, you know, wherever they're traveling all over the planet every weekend. We can do it. So remote meets for the top teams is really the only option we have. We don't have the resource. So we will, whatever the NSL network has been doing, you know, in the past decades, will continue no matter what anyway, because that's the basic idea of the whole thing. But bringing those top meets once per month or every 2 months, whatever, a few times a year, so that the top teams can do the same thing, you know, that should be added. And it was a good result coming out of the pandemic situation where we did such things, you know.
For sure. Let's keep it going.
Yes.
Now here, the situation now, I mean, you have commented already that your first contact with the CISM competition too, Mikhail, or only for Joey? For the whole team, basically. Right?
For the whole team. None of us have done CISM before.
Yeah.
You liked it, so that's fun. Maybe we should have those kind of meets for also like well, we have the CISM event. Well, the civilian teams cannot go to the CISM, but we can use the same competition draw and simulate at least. So that's possible.
And again, we have to respect CISM for the institution that they are, right? So we're not doing a CISM, we're doing their draw.
Yeah. We're doing the draw. Yes, of course.
A lot of fun.
And I want to make sure that everybody always, knows that too and respects it, because what we do is we are kind of jumping on a bandwagon that we're not really riding on, So it's just.
We're doing fantasy football here.
Yeah. Fantasy football. Yeah. I always wanted to look into that anyway. Hey, so here's the staging for this year, for Airspeed, not only but for Airspeed specifically. Step number 1 was the Indoor World Cup. Step number 2 was now the CISM competition. Step number 3 will be the pre-nationals, again, online. Step number 4, the USBA nationals, as of competition preparations for the World Meet, which is the ultimate step number 5 then, right? Is this how you are kind of planning it, how you have been planning it, or does it fall into place by coincidence, more or less?
It's half coincidence, half made it happen. Yeah. We're very deliberate about trying to do draws every month. I think we're doing something in July, I just don't remember what.
It's a pre-nationals.
July is the pre-nationals, right?
No, August.
That's August. Got it. Okay.
No, that's end of July. It's end of July. The pre-nationals are the two last. Yeah.
Yeah, the end of July. It's August that we don't have.
August is the stream of European nationals. There's a bunch of countries.
Okay, so we can do one of their draws.
That's it. Yeah. So I'm sorry, I misspoke. But so part of this is deliberate planning, but part of it is luck because other people's events coincided with what we needed to do.
Yeah.
It's very important that we can keep pushing the team, throw the team into the fire, so to speak, evaluate what happened, and keep iterating, keep that loop going. The biggest for all the amazing stuff that's been that we've been fortunate to have with this lineup, the thing we've hurt the most for was lack of competition, right? The pandemic really threw a wrench in that. And the more we can compete, even in somewhat artificial environments, the better we'll be. And, the CISM draw was awesome. I was definitely focused.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's great. So let's take a look at it. Let's and give us some commentary about what your own performance. We don't have enough time probably for all the jumps. I would be nice to look at Hayabusa and Kata Tigers too, but let's take a look at yours. So here it is. The whole. Everybody can see Arizona Airspeed now doing the CISM rounds all the way through. Give us some feedback, please. What do you see?
Well, first off, we're taking off our M18 style, like block 18. We kind of started doing that. Remember this one. A lot of I think the back piece did a great job with the 19. So it's been a block that we've been working on, and you guys just really knocked it out of the park on this one. I remember watching Hayabusas, and they also have fantastic 19s. I think we had a pretty decent GM build there, but our A's were a little slow to build. Maybe in the first half of the jump. I think in the bottom half, it's pretty nice. I was pretty nervous for this actually, which is why we did it.
Good. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah. And to share with other people, when I get nervous, and when anybody gets nervous, your focus goes into whatever's closest to you, and you stop seeing the whole picture. And I know my experience is whenever there's quick grips in front of me, quick grip changes, it draws me into that. So as soon as we had that 8 and 19, I was staring at the tendencies. I just want to, and like, I have to stay looking across and just trust it,
Yeah. Now, here's one funny, the way you're keying it. I don't know, how I haven't really looked at the Hayabusas, but it's always so funny that the first of all, the star always has that shape of a different formation to come.
Oh, yeah.
Cheating the shape. And then it's always Christopher here, right? Who is kind of getting his head up and on the head down. You're breaking the formation. Is that how it goes?
Yeah, and on that, that's actually, I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to talk about that. On that, we're in there, like we've never done this before, right? And I'm in there and we're giving Chris this job of counting to 5. And we're going through these jumps and we're not stopping to time and make sure we're doing it right or anything. And I'm in there, into jump 3 or 4. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's blowing through 5 seconds. And then I go to the stopwatch and he's got it like 4.75. I'm like, man, he's nailing this. I was like, I'm way over the
Chris is exactly the man for that jump.
Yeah, he's so good at it.
Yeah, the jump with the 22 is the only real kind of rough experience that we had. About halfway through, the 22 closes get pretty rough.
Mm-hmm.
And what the video doesn't show is the amount of noise that we have in the randoms page.
Yeah.
This is the only jump that we weren't happy with.
Yeah. It was a little frustrating because and again, this is why we do this meet, because I was pretty nervous on this jump too. And I had just had like a whole 2 weeks of like the cleanest 22 closes you could ever see. And then in this jump, it just deteriorated for a couple of pages and it started to throw things off a bit. So it is what it is.
And then what also caught my attention a little bit, and maybe we should actually, let's just keep looking at this. It's only 8 jumps, so it's going through.
Is this round 3?
No.
There's the 15 and Cat as
an R. We had a whole conversation about that. We're like, you got to call it. You can't call it a 15, or otherwise somebody might accidentally turn.
Otherwise, it's like running a tape recorder. You press play, and your body does a move that you're used to. Yeah.
Did it feel weird that did you feel like did your body want to do the 360 after the first Cat, or could you?
If you called it a 15, it sure did.
Yeah,
but no, we called it R. And it was fine.
During the prep, there were times. There were definitely times, but we got it in our heads. No, the highlight to this jump that I think people should look at is something that and Joey Jones gets credit for this because he kind of inspired us to do this. You can see Chris and Mikhail, Chris and Nick are doing some vertical work to get to the R out of the 21 close. And that's something that we've been kind of adding to our game a little bit. You can see that they're flying under each other to take a direct path to the cat, to the R.
Mm-hmm. Joey Jones.
I think
up with some innovative things for Arizona Airspeed.
Yeah, I mean, it was something that we had tried in the very beginning of our first year as a team, and it just didn't go well. And then Joey brought it up again, and we started adding it, and we got some success, especially for Chris and Nick. They in the center, they seem to be pretty adept at it. So
I have only 10 minutes left here, guys. That's
I'm glad you're on a time limit.
This guy. But we are in round, what is it here now? Round 4 or 5. So we should be maybe, this is at least round 4 already. Maybe, is it 5 already?
Yeah, this is our 10. This is round 4, I believe. Yeah, this was still our first day. Mm-hmm. We were pretty happy with this jump.
Pretty good jump.
Actually, to be honest, after round 2, we were happy with every jump that we had done. Mm-hmm. We were actually happy with round 1 as well. It was just round 2 that, and every meet has that. You have some rounds you're indifferent about, some rounds you love, some rounds you don't like so much. And in this one, I think we we were somewhere between like and love for round one, and we were pretty close to loving most of the rounds.
Mhm.
And maybe the tens for us are pretty good for right now, so we're happy with that.
And just to give some context for people that may have newer teams, just starting out or what, like we have these conversations about we like something, we don't like something. The art form is really resetting the experience as quickly as possible, right? We get to do this a ton, so we're pretty adept to, maybe having one bad page and then resetting, In the example of round two, we kind of broke the second half of the skydive a little bit. It's hard to see, but we know.
Yeah.
So the art form is not perfection. The art form is learning to live in this dynamic environment.
It's taking a breath.
And yeah, when things are wrong, accepting it and regrouping and moving forward. It's an important thing. Again, just giving some context, so it's not. This isn't voodoo and magic. It's just practice. Both physical and mental.
And what we're looking at here are some really some fours that we're quite happy with. What I found from the point slot is that a lot of this jump, the random work, really kind of depends on getting a good close on the 4, so that you can have me drive through the O, B forward, drive through the next random sequence. And I think we did a good job at that at the second half of the jump. It took us a couple pages to figure it out, though.
So, Mikhail, to get back to you quickly, is that something that came from Jack Jeffries, what you just mentioned, the dynamics of the environment and combination with the team spirits, and is that stuff that you have been discussing with Jack?
No. That I wasn't referring to Jack, although he definitely has a big influence on what we know as an organization. But all I was saying is it's a dynamic environment, or especially free fall, right? In the tunnel, you have a little bit more information. In free fall, all we get is each other, and so the art form is not having a perfect experience and falling apart the moment it's imperfect, but knowing that it's always going to be imperfect and knowing how to deal with it and stay together and stay on.
I'm pulling quickly up to Hayabusa rounds here at the SISM. Just very quickly, for one reason, what caught my attention, and that may play out, in fact, still with the judging that is to come. Your video is a big difference. The SISM judging, which goes really, really deeply into all kind of details with grips visible and not and so forth. It has always been kind of a mission for Hayabusa to really have it as close as possible and as big as possible. With you, I cannot say. I'm curious what the SISM judges will have to say about your video.
Again, we can't. That's why with the two environments are not the same.
Are you talking about key flashes, or are you talking about video angle? I'm confused.
No, I'm talking about how visible everything is. The closer the videographer is, the more visible all the grips are and all the details are, and so that's a significant difference compared to both videos.
Yeah, we're Brendan is in his training. He's gotten pretty good with all of the exits. He's getting really confident with that. We're getting him introduced to this kind of concept of positioning himself properly to see all the grips, especially in some of those tricky formations that typically have hidden grips, like a block 15 or something like that. But yeah, it's just part of his training. So he'll have that buttoned down pretty well by the time Nationals and the World Meet comes around.
You're aware of it, obviously, and it will be interesting to see what the judges that I've been given those videos to look at, what they will say. So I think I really have to come to an end here. If not, then you will be gone. All of a sudden, I couldn't even say goodbye and how much I love you and the four-way competitors on the top level and how nice they are with NSL news and TV and all that kind of stuff. So thank you once again for allowing us to be a part of it. you know, the audience wants to be a part of it. It's like in every sport, you know, the audience is interested what's going on actually with the folks up there, and, you know, and they have enough coverage to, you know, to bring that across. And we don't really have that much coverage, and I'm whatever I can do, you know, and you help to make it happen. So thanks for that.
Thank you, Kurt, and thank you for everything that you do. Hi to everybody watching this. Send us messages. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok. Send us messages, send us questions. We'd love to share what we're doing here.
Yeah.
And we'll see you at the end of July again for the next meet in a similar format. Enjoy your trips to Brazil. Bon dia to all the good people there. And don't drink too much caipirinha, my favorite long drink that I have. And Joey, think of the Post do Iguazu waterfall. It's good. Have fun there. Enjoy it. It's wonderful.
I will.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.